Have you ever noticed that it's actually really hard to experience silence now? Even when everything around you is quiet, your mind still isn't. You sit down, maybe you're just trying to relax, and maybe you're lying in bed, and suddenly your brain just starts running through everything. The things you need to do tomorrow, the things you said earlier in the day, random thoughts about your future, questions about where your life is going. And it's strange because nothing is really happening in the moment, but your mind feels louder than ever. Lately, I've been kind of thinking to myself why that happens, because I don't think our minds were always this busy. Now, think about it. Silence used to be normal. When we were younger, there were many moments where nothing was really happening. You'd sit down somewhere and you'd simply just exist. Maybe you were bored, maybe you were just staring at something, the wall, your ceiling, anything, you name it. But now it just feels like we've just lost that ability just a little bit. There's always something filling in the space. Music in your headphones, video playing in the background, scrolling through your phone, and even when there isn't anything external happening, your brain just keeps generating more and more noise. It's almost like we're becoming uncomfortable with these quiet moments. The second there's nothing going on, we instinctively try to fill that space in. Another video, another song, another scroll through social media, because being alone with our thoughts feels strangely difficult. One thing I've started to notice is the amount of information we're taking in every day. We wake up within minutes and we're already consuming something. Messages, news, videos, posts. Our brains are constantly processing new ideas, new opinions, new information, and I don't think our minds were designed to deal with this much stimulation all the time. It's like we've created an environment where our brain never gets a break. Even when we're relaxing, we are still consuming. And it results in this pressure to think about everything. Another reason our minds feel a bit busy is the pressure to figure things out. A lot of people spend a huge amount of time thinking about their future. What career should they choose? Am I on the right path? Am I doing enough? Am I falling behind? Those kind of questions can sit quietly in the background of your mind. And even when you're not actively trying to answer them, they're still there. Our brain keeps returning to them, and it keeps trying to solve things that don't necessarily have clear answers yet. And that creates a constant stream of these thoughts, because when life feels uncertain, thinking becomes a way of trying to regain that control. And there's a part of it that links into why these quiet moments tend to feel strange in a sense. Because the strange thing is that when everything finally becomes quiet, that's when all those thoughts show up. If you've been busy all day, distracted by these thoughts, surrounded by all this noise, your mind hasn't really had time to process anything yet. But the moment things slow down, all the thoughts that you've been avoiding suddenly appear. And that can make quiet moments feel more uncomfortable than they used to be. Because it's not because the silence itself is bad, but because silence reveals what's already going on in your mind. Instead of you sitting with those thoughts, a lot of people instinctively go back to distractions, videos, podcasts, scrolling, but just something to keep our minds occupied. However, I feel maybe the goal isn't to eliminate those thoughts. The more I think about it, the more I realize that we shouldn't be trying to quiet our minds in this by these means, because having the thoughts isn't actually the problem. Our mind is supposed to wander sometimes. They're supposed to reflect on things. The problem is when we constantly fight with our thoughts and try to escape them. Because When you resist something in your mind, it usually becomes a lot more loud. But when you allow your thoughts to exist without trying to control them, something interesting happens. They start to slow down on their own. I think it's best to just experiment with just allowing quiet moments to exist, not trying to fill in the silence, not trying to reach for your phone, just sitting somewhere and letting my mind wander for a bit. At first it feels strange, yes, but your brain just keeps jumping from thought to thought. But eventually that will shift. Your thoughts become slower, your mind starts to settle, and you realize that silence isn't exactly something to fear. It's just space. Space for your mind to breathe. And so maybe our minds will never be quiet, right? Maybe that's not even the point. But perhaps the goal is to simply give ourselves moments when we're not constantly filling in the space. Moments where we're willing to sit down with our thoughts instead of just running away from them. Because sometimes the loudest minds are the ones that just never get the chance to rest. And in giving yourself that time and giving yourself that rest, you'll realize slowly but surely those loud thoughts will fade down into the background and you'll feel at peace again. And that is everything I want from you. So let us try to achieve that together. And thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, I really appreciate your support. You just being here means a lot to me. One like, one sub would mean the world to me. And yeah, thank you very much. Peace out.